Hello, warm welcome back. Nice good evening from here. We can start with a short drill from Ravan. Enjoy.
बाप दादा की रूहानी ड्रिल याद है ना। ये एकाग्रता की ड्रिल सदाई करते चलो। अभी एक सेकंड में मन के मालिक बन। और मेरा बाबा संसार है। दूसरा न कोई। इससे एकाग्र स्मृति में स्थित हो जाओ। अच्छा
Such a beautiful opportunity to be together and realize the power of the mind. And concentration was mentioned as one aspect. Yesterday in the retreat, it was described that the brain is like a complex biological computer, which I thought was useful to process all the cognitive functions, but that we can't explain everything through the brain. And this is this field in science that some scientists talk about there being an operator or a little man, and to understand that we are not subservient to matter. They say mind over matter, but we understand soul, and to understand physical health, mental health, and spiritual health, we need to acknowledge this being who is using this computer. And that example yesterday of one soul can take over another body in the video that we watched. And then Prashant developed on that and said, it's a bit like when the soul is not conscious, he doesn't know his true self, then the ego is like taking over, which was quite vivid. And the method to overcome is not just visualization in the metaphorical anthill, but to start clean and start free from subservience to this story, and we can empower the soul and get the operator fully functioning. So it'd be lovely to hear your thoughts, reflections, questions. Meanwhile, welcoming in Prashant. Good evening.
Thank you, and appreciate that starting with Baba's message and Baba's presence. So let us create a few more minutes of the drill that Baba suggested. In the essence, the reason we want to create this time for the practice is to become free from bondage. Ordinarily, we are so trapped in this temporary world, in the story world. Invisible witness is trapped. So to be free from the bondage, that is one aim. To be free from Ravan. All these 10 heads of Ravan are conscious, and they are ruling the mind and life. The real player is not even conscious. So to be free from Ravan, huge achievement. And to be free from sin. These are the words Baba uses. You need to finish your past accounts of sin. Baba gives different methods to practice. But Baba also says it's a game of a second. And today Baba used a word like turning the switch on. And the moment you turn the switch on, things change completely. And so our effort in 1 second, we understand it is a game of the invisible witness. Invisible witness is the invisible soul. And he is conscious. The moment he is conscious, he sees the physical world for what it is. He sees the story as story. Finds it absurd to create any level of desire or bondage in their temporary story. Even children don't create any bondages. Invisible witness this moment. He understands this gathering even is happening in that story world. At the same time, he is conscious and understands his independence from the story. And for him, there is just the joy of existence. Natural joy, because his world is beyond harm. His life is Ravan-free life. That's why natural joy. And his region is a region of natural love. Everyone appears lovely, and everyone is lovely. He obviously knows the real beings, not the story. So different. When Ravan is in charge, Ravan sees the story. Ravan has so much to complain. For the invisible witness, there's no complaints. Story just right, and he's free from the story. As simple as that. There is nothing wrong in the story. There are so many stories, and this is just another story. And beyond the story, everyone is childlike and godlike, and without exaggeration. That's why this is a region that is divine, eternal, alaukic, unlimited. Everything is without limits. Godly. It's a world of God, world with God. And this whole thing is of 1 second, like a switch. Invisible witness is conscious. And so it is a soul-based effort. Then it is of 1 second. All along we realized we do not need to rush to use the word I. We are seeing the life of the invisible witness. And language used is this. Invisible witness is the invisible traveler, he is the invisible prince. He belongs to the King of Kings. Silently knows the worthiness to belong to God, to be loved by God. If anyone is Ravan free and viceless and even desireless, sorrowless, that is what the nature of all these souls are, if they are conscious. And the moment they understand their independence from the story, they are naturally viceless. So there is worthiness, natural worthiness. And this is very important, very precious for us. God loves everyone and God knows the truth. But each one, if they don't feel worthy, then there is a block. If this first step is not taken, invisible witness is not conscious, then it becomes ego-based effort because there is no other option. What was mentioned at the beginning, if the soul himself is not conscious, then the evil spirits, they take over. They rule the mind. they rule the life. And in this case, evil spirits are these 10 heads of Ravan. And they will have different, they have no problem in making effort, spiritual effort, but it will be mixed. The ego has its own agenda. Ego doesn't want to be egoless. So that's why it becomes like a cyclical effort. One goes in some circle. And then true experience is not a possibility when it is ego-based. We mentioned yesterday, we start from the sky, and that is a start in 1 second. We did not use the letter I, but a soft identification starts. Soft identification means you start to feel, yes, that invisible witness is I. And a new I takes birth. And that is what we want. If we use the letter I too quickly, we open the door for the ego to come in. And once ego comes in, ego thinks it is Harry and Cinderella, everything is mixed. He uses the word soul, but he means Cinderella also. And then the deeper any experience, spiritual experiences will be blocked by ego. So today we are going to come to another PowerPoint presentation. We'll start with that. And in this, we will see the brain, the two hemispheres of the brain, and how these two hemispheres, what message do they give to us, and how relevant this message is for us in our journey. In essence, these two sides of the brain perform very different functions, and in a sense, paradoxical functions. And what we are saying is we are made like that. So we'll start with a few slides, and feel free to type your comments, questions. When we first presented this particular message, that subject was it was called in meaning of life, and so I'm keeping it that way. So here are some British jokes. So we are really trying to understand this subject through science, and within science, we are trying to understand the brain. Over the last 100 years, I would say, but last 30 years more so, lots of effort, enormous research is done in the subject of brain, and especially MRI and magnetic studies, resonance, and you can see different images when the brain cells are active. They light up. You can get on the screen which brain cells are working when. lots effort is going on. We know the exact chemistry that is going on. But after all this, still there are, in the neurophysiology, you get a comment, mystery. The word mystery is still there in the brain studies. And the mystery is there because they are trying to explain what is done by the soul through the brain. We mentioned yesterday, it is a bit like trying to explain things from the radio. Who is creating music? Who is giving these great ideas? And they think they are trying to dissect on the physical radio, trying to find a person who is speaking in that. It is something very similar. That is exactly what is happening in the world of science. But today we are going to see something very simple, these two hemispheres of the brain. And these two hemispheres do very different functions. The right side brain and left side, different functions, and list of these functions. Right side and so left side functions include logic and analysis and science and mathematics. These are the functions that happen on the left side. And right side, the functions are big thinking, a bit like holistic, big pictures, intuition and synthesis. Certain functions happen on the right side. I'm not going too much on this. There's always overlap, and some functions happen different parts. But we can largely say there is two sides, and they have different functions. For example, if a person has stroke and left side of the brain is affected, he is very likely to lose speech, language. It's different functions. But if he gets a stroke, but right side of the brain is affected, his speech doesn't get affected because certain part of the brain on the left side deals with speech. But right side brain affected, it affects other functions. So there is a very clear difference between the two sides, but there is also overlap, but broadly. But not going into those details, but this gives us an idea about the soul. That's why I'm bringing this discussion. So if I was to ask you, what is the common function on the left side of the brain and what is common on the right side of the brain? Just want to clarify. Faces means what is written there means recognition of the faces. You meet a person, you recognize him, and you recognize the face. Even though there may be difference, you meet him after 10 years, 20 years. Sometimes some people see photograph of someone after 30 years and they say it's the same person. Many things have changed, but they recognize. That happens on the right side of the brain. Understanding patterns and recognizing patterns, that happens on the right side. Art, music, creativity, these are on the right side functions. So question, what is common in the left side functions? You can type your answer. And what is the common factor on the right side function? Is there any common? Are they random? Something, one function on the left side, like language, and something on the right side, like intuition. Is it random or is there some kind of a pattern? Can you see a common element in the left side functions and the right side functions. If you can see, you can type your answers.
Everyone is synthesizing at the moment. But, anyway, it feels like you've said it with the big picture. Okay, logical thinking on the left and creativity on the right. And right is more intuitive, maybe right is spiritual. Win more money is on the left. Left seems more controlled, organized, use of boundaries. Yet the right more about the flow and the bigger picture.
Yeah, nice.
The right more maybe religious and spiritual.
Sure. Now, in computer language, the left side functions are called serial processing, and right side are called parallel processing. And what it means, all these functions on the left side, they go step by step, like language, first sentence, then the next sentence. Mathematics, you have to go step by step, and then you come, logic, there are steps in it. Whereas right side functions, they are called parallel processing. You get an idea, it happens in a second. You recognize someone, it happens in a second. All these functions, they are instant. And someone asked, but what about Einstein? Was he not using his left brain? But even his theory of relativity, when you go into the history, he did not get his idea of relativity on the research laboratory. He was lying down, looking at the sky, lying on the grass and looking at the sky. That is where he gets the insight, the realization, what the relativity is. Then he goes into the details in mathematics, comes with the formula afterwards. But the new idea, intuitive insights into something happens in a second. Another way of saying left side functions, they go into expansion and details, whereas the right side deals with the essence. So we can say expansion happens on the right side, details. Science is a very typical of this, going into details of details. And the right side deals with the essence, holding the essence, and not going to details. As an example, say if there are in your garden, if there is a camel, suddenly camel appears, and someone tells you in the garden there is a camel, there is an elephant, there is a lion, there is a tiger, there is a cat. You say, okay, he's talking about animals, and there are 5 animals. If some part of you want to make, get the information in the essence also. And here also we are having this talk. You try to understand what is the essence of all this, what you have spoken in the last 5 minutes. What is the essence? You want to hold on to the essence. Also want to know the details. So this is the way we function. The left side wants to go into the details. If someone tells you 5 animals have come, you're not satisfied. You want to know which animals. You want to know the details also. And you also want to know the essence. These are like 2 sides of the bird, 2 wings of a bird. And the bird needs both wings to fly. If the bird has got just one very strong wing, bird cannot achieve excellence. It cannot go to the sky. Both wings have to be strong to achieve excellence. Now we have to ask our education system, and you have to ask education system in your town, how children are taught. Are we balanced, in our education? Are we giving them the education to achieve excellence? And normally, no. All over the world, and there is so much emphasis on one side or the other. For example, language and science and mathematics. If someone is clever in this, and he will get scholarship. If someone is very good in other functions on the right, but not good on the left, he may not get admission. This is the way we are at the moment. People have to pay to get any education in music, things of that kind. I won't be surprised if it is like that all over the world. So much so that our medical, physiology books, they will call left side the dominant hemisphere. They imply that that is the main one, and right side as a recessive. It is there, but we can do without it. This kind of attitude sometimes. Let us go to the next slide, and let us see how this we see in history. Can you recognize this face? Anyone can guess who this is?
Newton, someone.
Yes.
Couple of replies.
Right, yeah, very good.
Oh, Moni said Mozart.
Now this is Newton, Isaac Newton. And another face we want to show you, and that is, you recognize this face?
Einstein.
Yeah. So these are like considered to be, founders of modern science. Einstein is seen as a father of the modern science, and Newton is the founder of the science itself. In a very short time, came out with so many ideas in the world of physics and calculus and many precious inventions. But when someone studies his notes, Isaac Newton, he was in Cambridge and in Trinity College, and his handwritten notes are there in the Trinity Library. And those who have read these notes, they say they were surprised to see most of his notes are of spiritual in nature. He is talking about including cyclical time, things of that kind. And lots of these things have not gone in the physics books. Is mathematics and physics that is read everywhere. Prisca sapienza, that is the term used by Newton. Means he is talking about ancient wisdom. He says what he is talking is something, basic, but he is searching for Prisca sapienza. And in other words, you can see in him a balance. There is science and left brain, but also he knows something more than that. He's the one who had, we can say he's religious. He was religious in his life. Here is Einstein, and he, amongst the scientists, Einstein is the one who is the father of science, speaks about God far more than any other scientist. or most people will be trying to avoid the word God, whereas he uses the word God within the world of science. For example, this in the next quote we are going to see, and that quote is, "Science without religion is lame." This is a quote by Einstein. In essence, he also says, religion without science is blind. This is a nice that tells us science is like left brain function, religion is right brain function. In himself, that was a balance. That's why these both, I'm giving these examples, are able to achieve excellence. Those who ignore the one side, they cannot achieve excellence. They can flap around, but they can't achieve excellence. And so it is a message for everyone to achieve the highest in ourselves, which why not, and we don't know what that highest is. Like limping around and to fly, there is a huge difference. We give ourselves the best chance if we create a balance. Let us, yeah. Let us see this question. When in our lives are we balanced? Question for you. Can you think naturally? It is. There may be some who are making effort to create this special balance, and create this, pay attention to these different functions. Some countries have changed their education system. They are a little bit adventurous. They have changed the structure of classrooms and introduce new ideas in education. But naturally, when are we balanced? And regardless of our education system, is there any time in our lives we are balanced? Children or adults?
One answer, when we can act and not react. That's one option. Someone has written, when we are connected to our core, our truth, when we're enjoying ourselves, when we are playing, when we are coming from our true form. In childhood, maybe.
Sure. So let us see.
When we sleep is another one. Okay.
Yes. So when we play, that is like a nice secret here. When we play, there is a balance. We are made to play, that if we make some statement like this, it won't be wrong. What happens when we play? Let us try and see this. What happens to the brain? Children or adults? When we are playing, what happens? What is the way? How does the brain work? Right now, if we were to say we don't have this PowerPoint presentation and these things, we are going to play a game. We are going to make two teams and we are going to play a game. Instantly, you will get certain feelings inside you. And those feelings will be, oh, it is next half an hour we're going to play. Great. It is fun. It is there is lightness about it. So these are the feelings that will come in you. We'll see the slides. So different feelings that come with it. That includes lightness. That includes not being serious. So this is what is happening on the right side of the brain. feelings that it is just a game, it is fun. You can, because it is half an hour, we are going to play the game. Well, it is not going to affect my life. So internally you are saying whether you lose, win, or it truly doesn't matter. Your life is beyond that. And the bigger life, the game, you're not sort of lost in the game, the bigger life. Sometimes people, not the end of the world. Someone is worried about it, not the end of the world. That life is more than that. You love those who are playing against you. Accept, even if you lose a point in this game, there's acceptance, there's lightness. So this is natural. You are not analyzing it. These are the feelings that will come. The moment in the next half an hour we are going to play. Great. These are the feelings that will come. Now what happens now? The left side kicks in, and he wants to win. He wants to play, but he wants to win, and he wants to score as much as possible. And he has high goals, and he will use his experience. So we are seeing going into the expansion. The right side dealt with the essence, and the left side we are seeing is using the skills and want to work hard. But very interesting. Right side says it is not serious. You are playing this game and it is not serious. You can be light about. That's why you are light about things. At the same time, the other side, the left side, says it is serious. He wants to win and he is serious about it, winning. That's why he is using his skills and is ready to run and jump and do things, extraordinary things, because he's serious. At the same time, he says it is not serious. That's why some neurologists, neurophysiologists, they use the language, they're like two people in one. It is left side, right side. You sometimes see these functions as if they are two individuals in one. It is not multiple personality, but this is the way we are made. Two-brained beings. Paradoxical functions going on, where left side working in one direction, right side working another direction. But when this is happening, as we are seeing here, in each and every one, it is happening when we are playing. And when there is that balance, that's why we enjoy play. That is the most enjoyable activity, because there is a balance happening. Play is the only time you perform the best. You work hard. Many things happen. Someone is blocking you, someone is pushing you, someone is planning a strategy to against. You solve it all. Within seconds, split seconds, you are understanding things, you are processing it, you are taking decisions, you are moving on. You put a full stop. You use all the different powers in a nice way when you are playing. And we can see what is the difference between play and work. In the play, there is a right brain in action. And when you are right brain in action, you are holding that space, that it is okay. It is just a game. And you are seeing the bigger picture. You're not lost or your orientation when you are seeing the bigger picture. And that's why whilst holding that space, you are going into the details and acting and doing whatever needs to be done. Play is the time. You are playing to win, but you also know to fall. You also know to lose. you also know to start again. And at the end, you say, we had a great time. Now let us see the next slide. Feel free if you want to add anything, say anything. We are making this big statement. We are made to play. That is a big statement. And we are implying that our physical existence is a play. That is what we are implying here. We are made to play, not just 1 hour game or half an hour game, but we are made to play in life. There are some companies all over the world now, they are introducing sports in their campuses. There was one, Jack Walsh, he realized, he was a management person, he was General Electrics, he was a senior person in General Electrics, and he understood how to bring out the best in the staff, and he introduced sports and showed that there is better performance. People performed better. So even by just introducing sports in the working areas and campuses, he showed there is a result, there is improvement. Here we want to not just do it in an artificial way. We are seeing the spiritual method is this. You are understanding the reality that this physical existence itself is a game. And you are understanding the reality beyond this physical world. Let us see the next.
Yeah, you mentioned if anything to ask, just some questions. Shall I ask them now?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say generally that we are born right-brained but conditioned to be left-brained? That was one question.
We are born in a balanced way, and then it is nature and nurture. How which functions we use, what kind of environment we are in, how people around us, adults, how they see things, that then things grow in one way or the other. Like say, we can say women may be more right brain and in their lives also, and men more left brain. Certain cultures like Far East tends towards right brain. Europe, Western Europe, Northern Europe tends to be more left brain. This is like a general comment. There may be some tendency like this, but it is ultimately individual.
Someone wrote, when we are self-conscious, is that when we are balanced?
It should be. Accurate soul consciousness will be balanced. In the golden age, it will be balanced.
Someone wrote, possibly a joke, but is it true we play, the nature is to play also with Maya?
Yes, of course. That should be the attitude. If someone is balanced in his own way, he will not be sort of frightened by Maya. He will say, this is a game also. And he's playing to win. Baba also uses that language. Play. It is not but win. We are playing to win. Use the right skills.
Yeah, not indulging in it, but yeah. So there aren't any other questions right now.
Yeah, so we will see the next slide. Here I'm showing one scenario in, I think it is in 1991. and this is Central Court in Wimbledon, and this player reaches the finals, and he is not able to serve. Each serve is hitting the net, and the other player couldn't even play. He was losing the games because of his own fault, and he says it is because he was nervous. He himself told this. Now, how can someone who reaches the finals in Wimbledon can't serve? Each serve hitting the net, and he's losing points for it continuously. So how come something like this can happen to one who reaches the finals? What was happening all along? He's enjoying the game, fun. And when he has the attitude, it's a game, and right brain is using the right wing. And when you are using the right wing, he can use the left wing. Skills are in the left wing. The left side brain deals with the skills. Then he reaches finals, and he says, now this is not fun. This is finals. As long as he saw it as fun, the right brain was in action. But now this says this is not fun, this is finals. So right brain got paralyzed. He's not using the right wing. And when you are not using the right wing, you can't use the left wing either. He has got skills, but he cannot use them. I'm giving another example here. This is pavement. Imagine it is 100 meters long. When you come to Cambridge, you will see some paths here. You might get a chance to go for a walk here. So imagine it is 100 meters long and 2 meters broad, and you have to walk on it, but a very strict condition: you shouldn't go on the grass. You have to stay on the pavement. 100 meters. Will you be able to do this? I'm asking, will you be able to do this? 100 meters long, you have to walk and not go, even by mistake, don't go on the grass. Very strictly stay on the pavement, and it is 2 meters broad. So you can do this. Will you be able to run? Will you be able to ride a bicycle? So you can do this. Yeah, you got skills. That's excellent. Now, let us see the next slide. And here you will see the same pavement is at a height of 500 meters above sea level, connecting two mountains. I won't be surprised if this is a photograph from Bosnia, in that area. There are some similar sites there. So it is connecting two mountains, and there are no side railings, because there are no side railings in that other pavement either. Just pavement, but 2 meters broad. And down below, there are some crocodiles, hungry crocodiles there down below. Are you able to cross? In other place, you are able to run and use bicycle. You got skills. Are you able to do this? Yeah. Leave aside bicycle. Are you able to?
Not at all. Not at all. And risk would create fear. I'm assuming there's no wind factor, but yeah.
Yeah, whether it is at 500 meters or even 1 meter. But if the moment you tell yourself, this is serious, I can't risk here, this kind of, you are coming into that thinking, right brain gets paralyzed. Right wing is blocked. And when you can't use the right wing, you can't use the left wing. You got skills, but you can't use them. That is like a law. We all know this. You may be able to, some singers tell me, some very professional singers, they perform very well at home or in some on their own. But when it is in a big gathering, they find suddenly they can't get the same performance, same notes. But it can be the same with anyone. If you are strong on the right, then you can use the left wing. If you are not able to use the right wing, you can't use the left wing. Just as we gave the example, you have to cross that pavement, and if you are not balanced, you say, I would rather not cross at all. So you might still cross, but you might crawl. You got skills to run also, but you are crawling at practical level. Same thing is happening in our lives, here. Because when we are not strong on the right, we lead a handicapped life. We are going through this life. It's handicapped. In what way handicapped? We are definitely handicapped at an emotional level. We are handicapped at an intellectual level. And we are handicapped. We don't even know what we have lost. We think it is all normal. Just to crawl through life appears to be normal. Emotionally handicapped, we know that the lives, when you're in that's our starting position, invisible witness, he has no reasons for any kind of distress. And if there is, the story is going on with all the variety. Story is meant as a gift. Story is fun, not for fear, not for anger, not for starting war. That is not a reason. The story, getting into these feelings, that is completely in a distorted emotional state. Intellectually, we can't even see the bigger map, can't even begin to understand the bigger map. So that direction blocks our emotional life, intellectual life. We have come to believe that this is normal. We don't even know that this is a handicap because everyone is operating at the same level. But we have the option to understand. That's why that switch of 1 second to come into this radically new experience, to think in a new way completely. Shall we see the next slide? Let us say someone is balanced on the right in life, not just whilst playing a game of 1 hour, but in life he is balanced. How will it present his, how will he deal with the world? You will find, he will be in the world, he will be dealing with this life, but he will be free to think of high goals. For example, he might say, let us make our town the best town in the world. He might come with a thought, vision of this kind. And and there will be others who might come with ideas and come with resources and talents, and you might end up having the best town in the world. It is possible for him to come. He's playing a game, and he's playing to win. He might think, let us start a certain new stinking new organization, new company. He gets the idea, he's happy to take this to the next level and play with it. If he's not strong on the right side, he will say, maybe it's the best town in the world. No, it will not happen. There are too many risks involved. No one will cooperate. So he has failed before he started. Just as he says, I better not cross because I might fall. I better not try it because I might fail. He says, I better not introduce myself to these people because I might get rejected. Everything is heavy. When you are playing, you are happy to lose one round. You might lose one round. You win one round. You are playing. You know the reality beyond the game. In the same way here, those who are strong on the right, they become adventurous. They come with the ideas. They are able to take it to the next level, and they use their skills. Life becomes richer life as a result. As opposed to someone says, I don't want to try at all because I might lose. So he sits there. He got all the skills, but he sits. He might also come with, take others up also in the process. For example, if you say, let us make the town the best town in the world, then everyone else gets the best town also. Then people will come from other places to see this nice example of the town. And the world may have many beautiful towns. I like to give this example, Empire State Building in New York. I find it extraordinary. It was done in 1930s with that kind of, this is a building, 100 levels, 100 stories. And I would still say, even by today's standard, the most beautiful place, beautiful city, beautiful building. And tourists are still coming to see it, and to come with the idea, vision of something of this kind. At that time, I feel they were very balanced to think of it and to actually put it into practice. It is like those who are strong on the right, they will come with the vision, and it's fun for them, and to bring it into action. So we said, let us make this city the best city. Maybe no one wants to cooperate, and no one comes with talents. He says, okay, let me try another town. It is not that it sort of destroys him. He is in the spirit of play. He is playing. One round you fail, sure, okay, let us make some other city the best city. He goes to another town, another place, another country, and life continues.
On that note, a nice question here.
Sure.
Would a balanced and soul-conscious attitude allow one to say, do the best you can by using the left brain, but also with the right brain, be detached from the results and not think about them?
Yeah, it sounds right. It appears. But coming naturally, when we are balanced, these feelings will come naturally. It is not that much an analysis, but it is done. What is relevant for us here? Sannyasi tradition is that they call themselves karma sannyasis. They are God, 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 and they are not going into action. They won't get involved into the world. They don't want to think about this. They are renunciates of action. That is different tradition, maybe having its own results. But tradition that we have is not karma sannyasis, but karma yogi. We are into action, but you are into action knowing that it is a game. So you're not frightened of the world, but you are into the world. We want to make this world the best world with that attitude. And whilst holding this bigger map, and you are holding that space, and then coming into. That is why when you hear the Murlis, you hear the knowledge, you see the paradox. And on one side, Baba will say, this is drama is fixed. And at the same time, Baba will say, you have to work hard, you have to make intense effort. Whilst at the same time telling that it is fixed. So what is happening there? One message is to the right side, that is nourishment for the right side. Other message is to the left side. In the various times, in different ways. In one Murli of 1972, Baba said, sign of perfection, this is the way Baba put it, is when you are extrovert and introvert. When you are entertaining and serious. When you are master and a child. When you are detached and loving. At the same time. Same person, same time, and in equal proportion. This is the way Baba said. It is not that in the morning you are detached, in the evening you are loving. Baba was saying at the same time, when you are having these aspects, that is the sign of perfection. And that you understand what Baba is meaning there. And this will come in different Murlis also, but we will find the exact date. But 1972, Avyakt Murli, Baba was saying, it is titled Perfection, Sign of Perfection. It will be nice to hear from you. Maybe I'll just show the next slide and then we'll complete this. This is the famous map that you see. And what we are seeing here is our supreme home, bigger map. And the soul is coming in this green, blue box that is a play field for him. Amazing play world. Imagine you come in this world to play. This whole physical world, including the body, you are given this body to play. And we'll see the next words maybe. So when you are seeing all this, you are understanding your whole world is so secure. And whole of this journey is extra. The game means it is extra. And when it is extra, instantly you are light about things. Compared to body conscious life, that has become your world. It is not extra. You are going to play the game, but that game has become your world. So it becomes a life of panic. Because what will happen? Everything becomes so imbalanced when we are body conscious. We'll see the next slide. And when you are secure, the game is different. It is now you are having personality that's coming from security. Only a secure person experiences. But it also means there is no reason for anything inauspicious. That is the personality of balanced person. Happy and light and internally full and balanced. Yeah, I'm happy to hear any thoughts, comments. And we'll be taking a break in the rooms in a few minutes.
Yeah, such a beautiful way to synthesize and understand. Shall I stop the share screen now?
Yeah.
So a question that is here, how do balanced souls manage in a world which is left brain heavy, at least in the West? For example, they might mock or ignore Einstein. How do they work around the disadvantages which can come for balanced souls in a left brain world? I think that's the question. Is it clear?
Yeah. Now, each one, it is their game. If someone is playing a game and someone is confused in the game, someone is, getting serious, someone is crying, someone is angry. That is the way people are playing the game. That doesn't affect my game. Let me know that what is happening. This becomes fun within the fun. When you are in that, when you are holding the space, that can only be fun. And someone is doing something that is another joke within the joke. And if you want to help the other person understand it, you are doing it from that space of peace, not getting disturbed. But if I am not balanced, then I will be disturbed by other person's situation. If you are balanced, you won't be disturbed.
Fun within the fun sounds really nice. Yeah, so even grasping it is a start, isn't it? What's the point with the left brain and the right brain? Is it its connection with the soul? Like, how is it to do with how we are to manage this secondary reality?
Yeah, what it is, that is the way the soul is made. This is what we are saying. Just as birds, they have got two wings and they need to use both wings. That is the way we are made. That is the way the birds are made. In the same way, we are made two-brained beings. And that paradox exists at the level of the soul itself. That's why brain is like that, and that's why human body is like that. And in essence, we are made to play. That's why the way our brain is made like this. Just that the play is so amazing, we are trapped in it and then lost the orientation. We have to step back a little bit so that we understand the game for what it is. I like that expression. We are victims of our own success. We are given this such an amazing game. We are victim. We have become victims of our own success.
Feels like I've heard it before, but the fact that right brain allows us to play the game, but in parallel, see it as a game. It allows us to have a detached involvement and, yeah, loving detached, all these things which appear paradoxical. And wanted to ask, sometimes we associate right brain with spiritual, left brain scientific, but it's not as black and white as that.
It is not. But that element is there, that a right brain can process, the the incongruent ideas, can grasp the subtleties that are spoken in religion. Left deals with more details and details, like there are some analogies and all. The left brain cannot understand these analogies. Right brain makes sense of it.
And it was Einstein that said about right brain or intuitive mind as a sacred gift, and the rational mind or the left brain as a faithful servant. But we need to have a society that doesn't, well, he said we created a society that honors the servant and forgotten the gift. So it's quite a poetic way, but someone has put the Murley in the chat from 72, so thank you for that. Maybe one more question for the break.
That's nice. Thank you for that, Murli. Yeah.
Is there a self-check method to check the self against this perfection that came in that Murley, the reference?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Self-check method?
It's possible. Yeah.
So we can maybe expand on that a bit more, but would you like to suggest a question for room discussion?
It is nice for us to discuss the balance that we can imbibe in this life, so that various things we do in this life, how we can see this in a balanced way. How will it reflect? What can we learn from this?
So we're putting that in the chat, and very
in a sense, being very serious about spiritual efforts, at the same time 100% light. This is what that balance will show. You're completely light, you are playing the game, at the same time you are playing to win.
This is sustainable energy, isn't it? The lightness to sustain in a way, it's serious, but it's also light. So we have the question in the chat, and invitation will come for the rooms, and we'll see you in there, and see you back in around 10-15 minutes. Thank you. Enjoy. Hello, welcome back. I hope we didn't interrupt any discussions, and as always, feel free to summarize or share what came up in the chat. Let's take a minute together for this assimilation coming to the essence for 1 minute. Thank you. When that last slide came with the sky and the stage, so much joy feeling of the happiness of being able to be totally free and see it as a game. So it'd be nice to hear what has come up for you, and also we're going to be welcoming in Sanjay, and what are your thoughts on this? And lovely that you last minute agreed to share. So I think you have a strong right brain. Welcome.
I'm working on it. Thank you. So yes, we were in the middle of a very good question that was asked in the group, how to react, or what are the right feelings when you see, even on screen in a film, some bad situation or good situation. Would you be happy when something good happen, or sorry when someone kills someone else in the film, in the movie you see? So it is so good example and question, because right now in Israel, as most of you or few of you know, there is a war going on. It's a dreadful, horrorful, whatnot. You can use any word. And right now, any minute, missiles can come to Rehovot, where I live, and we'll have to run away to the shelter. And it happens once a day, even more before then. To position the self in the right place, using Baba's knowledge and using what we've heard this session, it's a best way, sorry, it's a best way to deal with this kind of situation for myself. When I consider myself as this gamer who plays in a game, and whatever the situations are in that game, it's a game, it's meant for fun. And why I can survive that? Because already known to us that we are not this body, we are the soul, eternal one. Nothing can happen to the soul. We are very secure from where we came from. And all of this is very temporary, and it made for fun. So why not to use the right brain more and more to win whatever situation is in front of us. When I succeed, minute there, minute here, to be in that state, then I can say that there is lightness and there is joy and happiness, no matter what the next minute will be, but I accumulate those minutes and they stand for me whilst things becoming more chaotic. So yes, this is a game, and one needs to work hard and seriously to be light and to enjoy that game, as was said, of course. Thank you, and Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sanjay, because you're speaking from practical life experience playing out right now, which I'm not in, and we cannot really know how we react, I think. But this training that we can do, and so powerful, this I am a gamer, we can do it, practice while the journey or the drama is benign, and then when things, it's an atmosphere, isn't it, all around, that we are also learning to bring a totally different energy. So thank you. Yeah, message, appreciate your sharing very much. So any other questions, thoughts for Sanjay, also feel free to share. And meanwhile, welcome in Prashant. Hello.
Hello and welcome back, and thank you to Sanjay. I know it is very late for you already. We got this broad idea about not just the brain, but this world, what is offered to us. We are seeing that if we were to hold this bigger picture, then only we can really enjoy the game as a game and have a real balance. If we are not able to see the bigger map, then we are already imbalanced. We are in the game and not aware that it is a game. Everything goes wrong. It's a bit like someone goes on a roller coaster and doesn't know that it is a roller coaster. Then he will spend his whole time in panic. We are like that. When you see the bigger map, then you enjoy the ride. So let us create another minute or few minutes where we need to use that best intellect. It is an absolute necessity. Its stone intellect deceives us. Stone intellect, ego, and the darkness of ignorance. That is like a conspiracy. That is these three factors deny us absolutely. This is something that is eternal paristan. The highest prize is right in front of everyone, but stone intellect, ego, and the darkness of ignorance, that is enough to, it is like a full gravity to pull us into different world altogether. If we overcome these three, then you are in a different game altogether. Eternal paristan. There can't be a higher prize than that. So let us come to that switch. It is a game of a second. And we just build that muscle where we are seeing in a different, completely different, radically different way. Perspective is different. Radically different because the idea of self is itself different. So this invisible witness, he is conscious. That's what the game is. He's conscious. And he knows his complete independence from this story, and it is also a roller coaster. It is also a great game. But the player is independent. Player has his own world. Invisible witness is the invisible player. He's conscious. He knows of his immortality and that nothing in the play can harm him even the slightest. Many things happen in the play, but it is all a joke. If nothing there can harm you even the slightest, then it is a joke. It is an extra experience. The invisible player knows of his world with God, one who is always in that truth and always out of this confusion and darkness. Always awake to that reality, balanced, always in that balance. We know that everyone is lucky. They all are players. All are immortal. All are noble. Their natural personalities of joy and love. As we continue on our journey in the sky, on earth, we remain conscious. The invisible player remains conscious. Thank you. Happy if anyone would like to share anything, and also it will be nice to hear from Sarah. Any comments, questions?
Just assimilating any questions. So understanding as a kind of comment or question, it's perfect to have it as a play, but there are also prizes or penalties in a game as well. So I don't know if you have any comments on that.
Yes, in any game, there are prizes, penalties, but it is within the game. It doesn't affect the bottom line is the invisible player. He has a home. Home is not affected by these penalties, and the player is not affected by the penalties. He remains the same regardless of what happens. This is this also applies to Maya and Ravan. He completely messes it up. At the bottom line is he's safe. So let him know that first, that he is immortal regardless, and then he goes to play the game. And of course, it is better to have prizes. Even any game, it is better to have prizes rather than penalties.
That's nice. Yeah, the way we are taught is very much with the prize in front and the golden, the new world. But we perform best when there's a lightness behind, so it's constantly but go for the best, because that's one of Maya's tactics, which then we are not playing to win, and there are different factors. Is meditation done on the right side of the brain? That's one question.
You know what we are saying, and that it is balance. Both, our life is a balance. And certain practices may have a right side more involved than the left. But we are not saying our life is right brain, it is balanced. Churning knowledge, understanding, that will be left side. There are subjects, service, yoga, that, life is a balanced life.
What are the signs we are playing the game with the correct left and right brain balance?
Happiness and intoxication and inner lightness. Game means lightness. The moment you understand the game, your feeling of lightness comes. The word game creates lightness.
You know, when you were saying during the presentation, the right brain would say, it's not the end of the world. With knowledge, we know the end of the world is not even the end of the world. So it is, you can't get more fundamental security for this player that, you know, everything collapses, but no, there's no annihilation. Nothing is actually completely destroyed. We understand the film, but it's fixed. So really to imbibe, to reflect, to grasp, experiment with the knowledge, then we can really afford that really deep, carefree feeling. And I think we had such an interesting time because things are getting refined and these tools are getting easier to grasp. There's a community, we are, you know, so really the game is, you know, these new games, these new interactive, they're getting more sophisticated, but, you know, that becomes more interesting. So that there's some notes here. Physical games, all players are aware of the rules, but in life we are starting to play the game blindly and we don't know the rules. So yeah, we're learning to enjoy the game and fully and naturally and help others do the same. There's a question here about dementia, which was touched on yesterday. Is there any place for understanding it in the context of the left brain and right brain? In terms of learning to keep a balance, in the brain healthy?
Our discussion today is aimed for to understand that spiritual insight into the paradox. And that was the reason we discussed this left brain, right brain. But dementia is, you know, is a state, you know, pathological state, where all the cells of our body, after a certain age, there is a disintegration, and as the cells die, and so also the brain cells, and it all depends upon which function is affected, and that is what we call dementia. So it is not in line with what we're discussing today. This is like the understanding the paradox and understanding the paradox that exists in a game and how it makes the life richer. That to understand that was the idea behind the discussion.
Thank you, that's helpful. So we're nearly at the end. We have a drill from Madhavan, but anything you would like to conclude with, or some reflections? Very much enjoying this joy of the, you know, the paradox, matter of a second makes more sense when you think in parallel. We are awakening that strength of the right. At the same time, we go into the details. So yeah, any final reflections before we finish?
I'd like to underline, you know, our starting what we mentioned at the beginning, the situation of the world. It is invisible players. They are in the bondage, and this whole play has become a web. It is not a play anymore. They are trapped in it. They are unconscious. That's why Ravan is literally, you know, possessed. We are using the brain, using mind, using life. Ravan is because the real player is not even conscious, and there is a account of sin. When Ravan is in charge, we end up creating account of sin, and there are penalties for that. That is the reason we are here. And it is a game of a second to come out of this. That's what that soul awareness is. And completely out. Soul who is conscious is completely out of this game. Prashant is part of that story, whereas conscious soul is observing the story with full independence. And because of this full independence, that's why there is everything else. He will feel the story, he can accept the story for what it is and know that it is beyond harm. And every minute you are experiencing this complete freedom, you contribute to the final freedom and Jivan Mukti. Every moment you are experiencing this life without Ravan, you are making Ravan weaker. And that's the big victory. So to understand, this is our silent to clock minutes and seconds in that experience of soul awareness. So enjoy the game.
Thank you. It's a privilege to begin to grasp and to play and know that victory is also guaranteed, that we have this chance to contribute. So wonderful. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Prashant. We'll finish with some words from Bhaktada Shanti.
अभी एक सेकंड में अपने मन से सब संकल्प समाप्त कर एक सेकंड में भाव के साथ परम धाम में ऊंचे ते ऊंचे स्थान ऊंचे ते ऊंचा भाव उनके साथ ऊंचे स्थिति में बैठ जाओ और भाव समान मास्टर सर्वशक्ति